WABN, New Africa Broadcasting Network.
Moving forward, one of the last speakers talked about what tickled him to go back to Nigeria. And, it was a very emotional speech about making quite a bit of money and going to UFI and being told something and said made a difference. And that's all about having an impact. And in fact, first of all, you need to make sure you're relevant. And relevance allows you to get an impact. And that simplifies and defines the next speaker, Professor Adeyeye. Sorry, I always call her Moji, so I'm sorry about that. She's one of us. She started out from Nigeria. She studied, she learned, she taught, and she came to the top of it. Being a full professor at the university, pharmacy, developed a lot of drug products, including HIV drugs, and leading departments, leading heads in this country. And after a while, I said, you know what, I want to go and make a difference. And she took over Nafdac. And since then, it's no different than we know that she's a person of integrity, high knowledge, compassion, and just like everybody else that have made a difference, she's already making a difference in certifying that drugs in Nigeria can be consumed. And how you find honesty, persistence, perseverance, and search for the truth.
Very great for me to be in your midst. Actually, maybe I should say in our midst, because I'm still resident here. We have all our children here and our grandchildren. And I was talking to Leo that this is what we need. We need pep talk. We need pep talk. Because God didn't create us to pass through Nigeria. I'm a strong believer in God. I don't believe in accidents. He didn't make us to pass through Nigeria by just for fun. No. You know, when the Israelites went on, were taken to Babylon for 70 years, they suffered a lot, but it had a purpose. God took them out to bring them in. And you see the Nehemiahs, you see the Ezras, going back to rebuild the walls. The walls of Nigeria are broken. The walls of Nigeria are broken. The Nigeria that I knew 55 years ago as a young child is no longer the same. Was there corruption at that point? Yes. But nothing compared to what we have now. I was in the US for 38 years, and I never forgot Nigeria one day. My husband is the patriot that you will never even know how to describe. We will buy sound system as a student when just managing whatever little, trying to go back home. Sound switch system, 250 kV or 250 voltage or whatever. Trying to go back home, and then we'll keep them in the store for years. Because at that point, our parents were saying, stay where you are. Because if you didn't stay where you are, we will not feed. And that is the remittances that Andrew was talking about. Nigeria, like I said, is in decay. And if we sit here and fantasize, nothing is going to happen. Just like it took the Israelites out to take them back in, it needs us. It will not be all of us here if we take statistics in 10 years' time. It may be 10. It may be 15. And I challenge people, okay, you don't want to go back home, or Nigeria, you want to leave Nigeria, Well, maybe you should go to Libya. That's where they take us as slaves. I'm talking of literal slaves. Nigeria. We don't have any other country. And the talk today, I can advance it? Okay. Entrepreneurship in Nigeria or in Africa. Challenges and opportunities. In particular, Nigeria pharmaceutical industry. What is entrepreneurship? It's creating, it's building, it's scaling up businesses. The goal, of course, is to generate profit. I mentioned last year at the Nafdac conference that if the driving force is to get profit, please stay here. Nigeria doesn't need somebody whose drive is only to profit. Because we have Nigerians, Andrew again was talking about the fact that we don't invest. Where is all the money that was stolen? It's in the banks, in Europe, in India, in South Africa. Nigeria has a lot of money to change things around. I'm talking of stolen money. But they will not invest it in Nigeria. When we create businesses, we have to also talk of the business aspect of it, of course. The bottom line is to break even and do better than break even. To make profit so that that profit will start driving the business. But you can also create business to change lives. It can be transformative. It can cause a social change. That is what Nigerian American Forum should be thinking about. You have to make profit to drive the business. But if it is to have a Bentley or 2 Bentleys or whatever, or a yacht, please, let's stay here. We don't need that. We don't need that. Before I went home in 2017, before they gave me the job, I've been in Nigeria for 20, 30 years, doing one thing or the other. Small things in the community. Small things, that's what we should start with. You've got to have the passion to change your surrounding. And I tell people, you turn around 360 degrees. You will see 360 reasons why you should contribute towards Nigeria. It can start from the family, from your own extended family. So talking of entrepreneurship, what are the types of businesses, pharmaceutically speaking? Local manufacturing. I was in the minister's delegation to China last year, and now shoot of FOCAC, which I'm going to be talking about. And they call it China-Africa Health Cooperation. And the goal is to have China partner with us in local manufacturing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Whether it's finished products or active pharmaceutical ingredients, or the excipients inactive pharmaceutical ingredients. There are other ways to contribute towards pharmaceutical industry. It can be importation, and I'm going to talk about importation. We have a lot of importation in Nigeria. Packaging, manufacturing of biosimilars. There's an epidemic of cardiovascular diseases, epidemic of diabetes, because Nigerians prefer to drink Fanta than water, but we don't have a company that can make insulin. I was in Addis Ababa for WHO Africa Manufacturing meeting in December, and they were looking for people that can do biosimilars or manufacture biosimilars. So that is an opportunity that we can look into. Contract manufacturing. Nigeria is ripe for that. I know that. Contract manufacturing. Right now we are doing an industry-wide capacity evaluation of all the 177 companies in Nigeria, GMP roadmap, to see whether we are over saturating some markets. Of course, we are over saturating some markets, but to what extent? And to see the wide gamut of the GMP competencies of different companies if we may. We go to categorize companies: low risk, medium risk, high risk. And if you categorize a company as high risk, that doesn't mean we shut the company down. We give them their CAPA, the corrective action that they need to make, and start working with them to bring them up. But it is not a company that we recommend if UNICEF wants to develop something. Of course, we go to the low risk, medium risk companies. Clinical trials. When I did my pilot clinical trial, my pilot clinical trial at the University of Lagos in 2005-06, I knew that it's a rough environment to do clinical trial, in. But I persisted. The noise level in Lagos was a little higher, but at that time that was the only place I could go. And when we started, the products look very, very promising rather. In my lab, I was manufacturing drugs for children with HIV/AIDS. We were actually sending those drugs in, and we were labeling them compounded products, meaning we compounded it in the US so that some children, we can save them. Because at that point, there were no drugs in Nigeria for children, especially. For adults, even 2004, not to talk of children. When I then wanted, or got to the point to do the bioequivalence, we passed the dossier through FDA, and FDA approved that we should do a bioequivalence. I insisted, because people said, oh, you cannot do anything in Nigeria. I wanted to prove a point that we can do it, I can do it in Nigeria. And we went to Baptist Hospital in Ogbomoso, because that was where I was pharmacist, in 79, 80, so I still knew some people. We did it. We did it. This clinical trial was a project for 2 graduate students, or the tail ends of their 2 projects, And when we sent our data to FDA, there was no correction. There was no correction. And this was in Nigeria. So we can do it. We can do it. I was joking about it a few days ago that it almost came to a point of fasting. Because we had 42 subjects, after doing the exclusive criteria and everything, we have 42 subjects that we wanted to use. And then LAUTECH went on strike. And some of the students were from LAUTECH. It says, are we going to have the critical 24 that we need? So there are so many vicissitudes that you cannot predict that can discourage you. But you have to. You don't have another country where they know your name and you understand what I mean. Medical devices manufacturing. Medical devices manufacturing, please listen. Surgeries are delayed because there are no bandage, no gauze in the theater. Medical device, that's the simplest medical device, that you can think of. So there are so many opportunities. We just have to think through, talk to the right person or the right people, and you will see things start changing. Africa has 15% of world population. However, it has has the 70% of HIV/AIDS, the high disease burden. 90% of the deaths due to malaria are in Africa, of course. Africa is highly dependent on pharmaceutical imports. 65% of the medical products are imported. In Nigeria, where I'm the CEO of Nafdac, 65% of our products are imported. And guess what? The majority of falsified, substandard falsified medicines are imported. Not the locally manufactured products. Because our people will go to China and say put 30% potency or 0% potency, and so on and so forth. There were a lot of compromises at Nabf because it takes two to tango. But now, I said I will clap for you when they are taking you to jail. I tell staff, I will be the one clapping when they are taking you to jail because we've seen what compromises took us. We were out of the port for 2011 to 2018, and you can plot the graph. It will be a steep slope when substandard falsified medicines and tramadol and codeine get wet on the increase and started killing our people. These are the things we have to take to mind. It concerns us. It's not just Moji, Adeyeye, or Leo. No. It is our relatives, our cousins, even if our nuclear families are here. We have our extended families in Nigeria. Let's talk of tramadol, for example. Hardly will you find codeine, abuse of codeine, hardly will you find a family that is not indirectly affected. In the north, it is an epidemic. The problems we have in Nigeria is partly not because of north, partly because of lack of education in the north. We flagged off drug substance abuse in Kano on December 6th, and the Emir of Kano said that any chief that wants, anybody that wants to become a chief in his cabinet, that person has to go through drug test. That is the Emir of Kano. And he was telling us that whenever it's going, all these Almajiris will be running after. That is heartbreaks. If we don't have educated, and my sister that talked about education, education is part of, is the crux of most of our problem. And I'm going to mention it in terms of pharmaceutical industry. It came to a point, because of these problems of imports and imports and imports, that UNAIDS then partnered with China to manufacture antiretroviral drugs and ship to Nigeria. Part of what we discussed is how do we make partnerships, in China rather. Part of what we discussed, how do we do local manufacturing with partners from China. I'm not opposed to that, but we have to think. We have to think carefully. China has its own interest. China doesn't have interest of Nigeria. It's business. It's business, and I don't blame them. I don't blame anybody for wanting to do business. There's nothing wrong with business. There's nothing wrong with doing business. We have to think, for how long are we going to be doing this? For how long? We, the diasporians, have a lot to do. There are several partnerships. I'm just using examples. Many partnerships in Nigeria. You have the FOCAC, the Forum on China-Africa Cooperative, which is really at the presidential level. You have the China Chamber of Commerce. That was the one that we were talking with in August of last year. You have also Indian Exports something forum. I don't know too much about that. You have the Nigerian German Chamber of Commerce. There are different groups that want to partner with us. Then I just want to talk a little bit about FOCAC. It was in 2015 that President Xi said that this is great, this will be great for China. And yes, it's a good business approach to support local manufacturing in China, in Africa rather. But it is for the interest of China, and I don't fault them. And to promote access to medicines. In 2018, he announced expansion of these initiatives. What are we doing? What are we going to do about it as diasporians? Still talking about FOCAC, China identified investment opportunities. It's all about investment. Nothing short of that. And now we come to Nigeria Business, American Business Forum. Can we seize the same opportunity using the China model? What does it take? When we went for this meeting in August, myself and another person from UNAIDS, Nigeria, we were just in the lobby talking, and then a Chinese walked by who you know, and started talking about China and business. We were just talking and talking and talking. We wanted to cut in and talk. No! He was just talking and talking and talking. We were looking at each other. And when he left, he said, oh, he didn't give us a chance to talk. That is the strategy. Yes. That is the strategy. We have to think. We have to think. Part of what we discuss is understanding the business environment in Nigeria. If you talk, if it's a one-sided talk, how can you understand the other person? But whether it is diasporians, whether it's Chinese, whether it's this, we have to understand the business environment in Nigeria. It is, when we've been here for too long, we think everywhere is like America. No. No. We have to think of the business environment. My 14 months in Nafdac has really opened my eyes. First of all, I knew that I'm going to a different environment, but I didn't know much. I'm just learning, you know, a little bit at a time. I've been coming alongside with understanding is adaptability. We have to be adaptable to the infrastructural limitation and what it will take to build a business model in the middle of such. One of the previous speakers said, when are we going to wait for the federal government? We may never do anything if we have to wait. We have, and I tell people, I said, if missionaries can go to Nigeria, missionaries can go to Nigeria and spend 20, 30 years in Nigeria, we don't have excuse. We don't have excuse. They were not used to malaria, some of them died there, but they adapted. We're not proving any point by saying that it is too difficult. Of course it's too difficult. But what point do we want to prove? That we're not there, we're not from there, that we're from Togo? Openness to joint partnership. We have to be open to joint partnership with the existing companies. What I've found out, well, not what I've found out. What I'm realizing day after day is that we have geniuses all over Nigeria. In the pharmaceutical industry, I showed a video last year of Fitzy, one of the pharma companies, and I could not believe my eyes. Why should we go back? Capacity building. Capacity building is invaluable in terms of significance on the country. Our universities have become pay for service or pay for whatever, because somebody was talking about faculty not showing up. I was on sabbatical in Lagos, University of Lagos in 2005. And it goes without saying, it's a given that you have to show up to teach your class. And then the students will come to me and say, excuse me, no, I will just see them loitering around during lecture. I say, what's going on? I've already finished part of my own segment of the team taught course. Oh, the teacher is not there. Why is the teacher not there? Why is the teacher not there? We take our children for granted. We exasperate them. It's exasperation. We frustrate them and we think they're going to be better. No. They will be manipulators, they will be cheaters, they will be, just name any negative because of the examples we have set. Professors don't show up. They want to get you are teaching a course and you want to be paid invigilation fee or whatever. I said, what invigilation? It's your course. But that is the system. We have taken our children, our students for granted, and no wonder we are getting the product. Transformative opportunity for capacity change. I've already mentioned that. Transformation is the output that we are looking for. I went back a second time for Fulbright at the University of Obafemi Awolowo University, and students, yes, great, yeah. Remember, UNN is the best. And students will come to my office. There was no official office hour, but I just let them come, let them discuss whatever. And everybody was looking as if I was from the moon. They were shocked that I could chat with students. That is why our educational system is going down and down, but the gaps I'm going to show the outcomes of it. Entrepreneurship in Africa again, top recipients of foreign direct investment, FDI inflows in Africa during 2014. South Africa, 5.7 billion. Republic of Congo, 5.5. Mozambique, 4.9. Nigeria, 4.7. Bear in mind, Nigeria is a quarter of Africa. Talking of investment opportunities in Nigeria, there are so many industries, well, I shouldn't ever exaggerate, several industries that are thriving. The banking industry. The banking industry is at a higher level than the American banking industry. Yes. Before you put money there, it's already showing. And they track it. Yes. And these are made of mostly local entrepreneurs. Local. There's no influx of foreigners. That is the banking industry. Very well developed. The same thing with insurance. The pharmaceutical industry. We have the heritage companies. Those are the previous Pfizer, previous SKG, not SKG, GSK, and so on and so forth, that are doing so well. They are doing so well because they came from a background that was functioning very well, and they were able to maintain it. We have, of course, local manufacturers, but this pharmaceutical industry has a lot of potentials. A lot of potentials in terms of investment. We have special therapeutic areas. I mentioned the imports. We import a lot of essential drugs, anti-malaria, antiretroviral, tuberculosis, infections, things like that. But there are so many other areas. Oncology drugs, diabetic drugs, cardiovascular drugs, psychiatric drugs. These are therapeutic areas that we are lacking. And I know that from our database. Medical devices, I've mentioned that. I went to a company, I visited a company about 4 months ago, 3 months ago. They were the first to make dispersible amoxicillin. They were the first in Nigeria to make dispersible amoxicillin. And they gave me a tour of the company, and then we got to the floor for this dispersible amoxicillin. It was a funeral, it was like a graveyard. Nothing was happening there. Why? Because as regulators, we weren't focused, we weren't thinking. A company that has innovative products, we started giving permits or license or whatever for people to import dispersible amoxicillin. Within a year or two, they ran this innovative company out of the market. This is the type of thing that I'm changing right now. First move advantage. So we're going to have 3 to 5 year exclusivity for companies that are innovative, and I'm going to be talking about that. That will bring value-added research and development, and a lot of partnership, like I mentioned, with PMG-MAN. That is the core association among the pharmaceutical manufacturers, with Nafdac regulatory backing. Talking of investment, sometimes everybody is on different pages about investment incentives in Nigeria. You have 30% corporate tax, or corporate income tax, but you have cash grants. You have the special economic zones, the export processing zones, where you can actually get a duty. Think through this very well, and again, talking about very little money that the federal government has to work with compared to our population. You think through this incentive, 20% of the cost in terms of infrastructure will be paid by the government. WHO pre-qualification. There's a lot of change in the landscape of pharmaceutical manufacturing or regulation. Before, it used to be patterned after FDA, format, but now you have what is called world listed authorities, WHLA. That is the scale that WHO has put in place now. It goes from 1 to 5. FDA itself is at 4, and 4 is great. When I got to Nafdac about 14 months ago, we were at 1. Now we are at 2, going to 3. Because I will not let anybody rest. That we have to think of Nigeria. Again, who was talking about who are we going to sell to? We're going to sell to West Africa, we're going to sell to Africa, our products. And if we're not WHO, listed, or we're not in the maturity level, it's called maturity level, we will be in big trouble. Any product that Nafdac certifies can be sold in Tampa. That is the goal. Because FDA's level of certification is equal to level 4 of the new categories that WHO has put together. For this to happen, there's what we call global benchmarking. It has about 248 indicators. You have to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. It is excruciatingly detailed. We are going through that now. I don't see any problem with that at all. It's almost common sense. You build quality into a system, you don't add quality to it. It is all about building quality into the system. This includes quality management system, which is now we are going through it. Agency-wide, the 2,300 staff. We started from Abuja and Lagos, and we are cascading it to the zones, and the zones will cascade to the states. Because without that, you cannot be a strong regulatory authority. you cannot have a strong framework because it has to be SOP driven. It is, and I tell everybody, we are not civil servants. Please listen, we are not civil servants, we are regulatory authorities. You don't sit on the file of somebody. How many days is it going to take on your table? And when does it go to the next table? That is what Nafdac is going through as we speak. This is very tedious, but that is, we don't have a choice. Regional regulatory harmonization, extremely important for business. We have the West African Health Organization, WAHO or ECOWAS, and Nafdac role is very, very significant because we are the biggest. We are part and parcel of the technical working groups. And sometimes I tell the manager, they said, look, you are taking my staff off duty for so many days. So these are the things that will make investments to not just be within Nigeria, because when you produce, where do you sell? You have to sell, in West Africa, sell, of course, in the continent, and also worldwide. That is it. Thank you very much.
NABN TV, inspiring a new generation.